Good whatever time of day this is for you. I am Greg Leonard.
Fun fact about me, I was diagnosed with ADHD in the first grade when I was reading at a 5th grade level, doing math at a 7th grade level, but unable to connect the dots for a puzzle design for a 3-year-old. I can do at least 10-year-old now. I have not double checked on the reading or math lately, but I'm not here to talk about that today. I'm here to talk about stocks and other stuff. That's right, it's time for Greg Talks Stocks and Other Stuff. I always feel like that should have some theme song or something, but I do have this delightful background music that is also the only song available for free on my video editing app that I use. But yeah, I like it. Welcome back. First and foremost, I am delighted to find that you're still here. You didn't watch one video and say no, I'm good. I appreciate it. Y'all the best. We the best, like that guy DJ Khaled always says. In fairness, I don't know him too well. I assume he was talking about us, though. I really only know that one where his real popular song that was actually just a Carlos Santana song, as far as I can tell. Oh god, it's way too early to be making powerful enemies like DJ Khaled. I'm just starting out here. Hope he's not watching, though I guess if he is, he would agree. We the best. Anyway, I spent a little while thinking about what to talk about today, and I think the next logical step after explaining what a stock is to get into why they're priced the way they are. Hold up. Hey! Eagle-eyed viewers out there might remember that I talked about cost a little bit when defining a stock, in that it represents a fraction of a company's value. But this is the next episode. For this episode, I'm getting more into where that perceived value of a company actually originates. Now, probably the most concrete thing that stock prices come from are quarterly earnings reports. This is something that every publicly traded company has to provide to the public. It is a summation, essentially, of how much money they made every 3 months or so, and how much that money was pure profit versus just revenue they took in. Revenue is just money you make in general. Profit is how much money you make after you take away your expenses from your revenue. Profit. Oh, they love talking profit. They talk about it a couple different ways, actually. You got your net income. You got your gross income. You got earnings before interest and taxes. You got earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. I'm not even going to get into depreciation. You say your car is worth less because it's getting old. Same concept. Just with machines that make lasers or potato chips, depending on what your company does. As far as I'm concerned, there are two kinds of companies in the world: laser companies and potato chip companies. Maybe I should just cut out the part where I make fun of myself. You're still a Wall. You're giving me nothing here, Wall. Fine. Anyway, these quarterly earnings reports are the most concrete way to see how a company's doing, how profitable they are at a given time, and how much money you can expect them to make in the near future. Because they also add something called guidance, which is basically how they expect the next quarterly earnings report to go 3 months from now. There's also something called a PE ratio, which is a price to earnings ratio. I'm definitely going to do a whole video on it at some point, because it is one of my favorite metrics in general for telling how much a stock should be worth. But just wanted to give it a quick shout out. I'm sorry, DJ Khaled, but I believe you meant to say PE to best. Right? Right? Anybody? Oh, come on, Wall. So with these earnings reports coming out every 3 months, why then does the price of a stock change multiple times in a minute, every day, throughout the day? That's a little something called economics, my friends. So the two basic tenets of economics are supply and demand. And when they meet in the middle, that's when you find your price. The supply represents the amount of something that is available to sell. Demand is how many of that thing people want to buy. So when supply is greater than demand, it causes the price to go down. Like, for example, you know, the old tongue twister, she sells seashell by the sea. She sells seashell by the sea. Nowadays, everybody Dre. She sells seashells by the seashore. I am not sure why Eminem lyrics help me get tongue twisters better. I have a theory. That's neither here nor there. She is selling seashells by the seashore. That's a terrible business model. The shells come from the sea. People can just walk over to the shore and get their own shells. she's not going to be able to charge like 20 bucks a shell or anything like that. She's getting a quarter at most. Like if you take those seashells to a mountain, you could probably get an auction going if there are people interested in buying seashells there. Climbing a mountain like, oh, I miss the call of the sea. And be like, oh, got a conch right here. How much you got?
Regardless of demand there, with that supply being lower, because you're on a mountain instead of at a beach. Jumping in with a quick fun nature fact, mountains are not the natural habitat of seashells.
That is when demand would exceed supply, and the price would go up.
Because of scarcity. And it works that way with stocks too.
When supply is greater than demand, price goes down. When demand is greater than supply, price goes up.
So when we're talking stocks, like I do, supply is the number of shares that people are trying to sell at any given time, and demand is the number of shares that people are trying to buy at any given time. Say some good news breaks about the future of a company.
You see a bunch of people rushing to buy it, that drives the price up. And when there's bad news, people are selling it off, causes the price to go down, because there are more people selling than people interested in buying it. So in conclusion, while the long-term trends behind a stock's price tend to be based more on things like that quarterly report and the company itself's long-term plans, like if they're rolling out a new product line, they're upgrading products, they're expanding their business, they're buying a different business, they're doing any handful of actual business things. The short-term outlook of a stock is just a product of supply and demand. Mass psychology.
And what's interesting is this implies that the price of a stock is not necessarily what that stock is worth. It's almost like that's related to how people make money on the stock market. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
And I think that about covers it. Again, thank you for watching. Greg talks stocks and other stuff. Still just talking stocks mainly, but we will get to the other stuff eventually. Suppose I had some other stuff in there. Either way, if you have any questions, concerns, cries of outrage, or disgust, you can email me directly at gregtalkstocks@gmail.com. Hopefully an email address showed up right there. I'm editing it, so if it didn't, it's on me. But yeah, hope you keep watching. I hope you're learning. Feel free to give me a shout out, a comment, like, subscribe, shout it from the hilltops, all that stuff. Still no buttons up here. All them buttons are right down there still. Unless YouTube changed it up on me, hit me with a curveball, making me look like a fool. It's probably fine. Alright, until next time. Still no catchphrase.